So we are now live. Welcome, everyone. I'm sure everyone is just getting their connections going and just getting themselves all set up. So I will just start with some introductions. My name is Jodie Pappas. I am the founder of Clean Kiss. I'm also the founder of this group called Find Your 40, which is an exclusive group for women who are in their 40s or feel like they're in their 40s. Really, at the end of the day, 40 is just a number. It's more about the mindset of being a woman in your 40s and everything that goes around that, and everything that you feel and you experience and you decide that you want for your life when you're in your 40s. So that was the original mission behind putting this Find Your 40 group together. And I'm so excited to have this group so that I can bring experts and guest speakers into this group to be able to share their knowledge and to have some really enlightening and lively discussion around different topics that are relevant. So tonight I have Teresa Isabel Diaz. And Teresa, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and just explain a little bit to people about what it is that you do. And everyone knows who has joined this that they are here to get some really juicy secrets from you around how to have a happier perimenopause. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Teresa, and just have you explain a little bit about who you are and why you're here as a guest.
Thank you. My name is Teresa Isabel Diaz, and I am a pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist in Toronto for over 25 years. And in 2013, I became a menopause practitioner certified by the North American Menopause Society. And I founded MenopausED, which is a virtual health clinic. It's virtual, it's a women's health practice. It was virtual before COVID, so it's perfect for the times we're going through. And I help women in menopause. So menopause transition can be a challenge and have many bothersome symptoms to many women. It's not easy to go through it alone. I don't want anyone that needs support to not get it. So that's what I do. I help women navigate the change.
That's amazing. And so, you know, what I know about you, just because I've attended some of your other workshops, is what I find fascinating is that you look at menopause from a very integrative approach. So coming from a pharmacology background, you look at what is the best integrative approach for women in menopause, right? Can you explain a little bit about how you do that?
So I am a pharmacist, but I don't like drugs. maybe because I am a pharmacist. So I believe that it doesn't matter how many drugs you take to cure a disease, which is not the case of menopause, but it doesn't matter how many drugs you add on. If you don't have a holistic approach to life, a really good basic foundation for your health, physical, mental, and emotional, you are never gonna be where you want to be. So to me, the basics of good health are healthy food, proper sleep, physical exercise or physical activity, and mindset. You must be positive in order to have a better life. And we'll talk about this for the rest of the hour. So that's my approach, is a holistic approach that we have to work at it. We are what we eat. We are what we think. We are what we move or not move. And that's how you stay or become healthy. It's a lifestyle choice. And despite everybody knowing that, unfortunately, there's a lot of obesity still in many countries. So knowledge alone doesn't do much good. We have to put the knowledge into action if we actually want to see results. So that's what I do. I raise awareness, I provide education, and then I support women so they can put these tips into practice. And it's easier when you have company to do that than doing it alone.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So just before we actually keep going, you know what I forgot to do is I forgot to actually ask people to post any comments. We're using StreamYard to be able to broadcast this live to Facebook. And so people that are watching us live right now, they're in the Facebook group, and you should be able to post your comments. So if you have a comment, please post them, and Teresa and I should be able to see the comments. If for some reason the technology does not want to cooperate with us tonight, because that happens, don't worry. You can post your comments still in the group. And there might be people actually that are not watching this live, and they'll be watching this on a replay. And even still, for those people, if you're watching on replay, please post your comments. If you have questions that have not been answered throughout the course of this discussion with Teresa, and I will make sure, and I know Teresa's really active too in this group, so we will make sure that you get some answers about menopause. But also at the end, I'm going to give you some contact information for Teresa, and so you'll know exactly how to also get in touch with her, because she's got a wealth of knowledge. We're not going to be able to even get really deep into it today, but we're certainly going to, share those secrets that we promised everybody, which you just started to do a bit of a reveal, but we're going to get a lot more into depth with that. But before we do that, I just want to share with the group, and Teresa, I was telling you this right before we actually went live, is so I've got a good girlfriend, and her name is Susie, and she might be watching this today. I hope she is. And so I was messaging her today, telling her that I was having like what I deem to be a perimenopausal day. I didn't even know, to be honest. I'm going to be turning 49 in December. And I didn't even know if I was in perimenopause. I didn't even know. I think she just said she is watching, so that's great. I didn't even know. I went to my naturopathic doctor, a few months back, or maybe a year ago, to say to her, like, what's going on with me? What is going on with my body? Like, I'm having these weird symptoms. I'm having these weird moods. I can be up, I can be down, I can be sideways. Like, I don't know what's going on with me from one day to the next. But then I don't have some of the other very typical symptoms like hot flashes or, insomnia or some of those other things. So I wasn't really sure. And I think that's where a lot of women are at. And that's why I wanted to have you on, Teresa, because I think there's a lot of women in their 40s and older that just might not have a clue. What is perimenopause? What is menopause? What is postmenopause? What's the difference? How do we even know where the heck we are in this life process? Can you talk to that and just give us some tips of what we should be doing to find out?
Sure. I actually like to start there because, as you said, there's so much confusion that I want to get the definitions and the stages out first. So When I say words like perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, everyone who's listening and watching knows what I'm talking about. So there's 3 stages, but let's start at the very beginning. When we are born, starting at the very beginning, when women are born, we have millions of eggs in our ovaries. In puberty, we start releasing some of those eggs and we get our first period. And then we go through puberty, and everybody remembers what it is: moods, acne, breast pain, aching, periods starting, all that, no fun. So some say that perimenopause is puberty in reverse. So in puberty, our body is getting used to living with the sexual hormones, the estrogen, which is a predominant female hormone, the progesterone, which is primarily responsible for maintaining pregnancy. And we also have a little bit of testosterone, which is male's predominant hormone. So in puberty, we start releasing those hormones. Eventually, we get older and we get regular periods. And this, when everything is going regularly, we call this the reproductive stage. So women, whether or not they get pregnant, they are in the reproductive stage. But the ovaries keep on aging every day, just like we do. So our ovaries, though, age faster than we do. So we're going to outlive our ovaries. They're going to stop working before most of us stop existing. So our ovaries start working less predictably. So there'll be an aging that is starting to get noticed because this ovulation is not as regular. Therefore, the hormones are fluctuating and eventually they decline. This period of time where the ovaries are not working as regularly and predictably as during the reproductive phase is called perimenopause. And eventually the ovaries get so old and tired, they stop working. And when they stop working, you stop ovulating, you stop menstruating, and that's it. That's menopause. Menopause is the end of menstruation. But because in perimenopause, and especially the late perimenopause, closer to the last menstrual period, many women miss periods. So you can go 5, 6, 7. I know people who have even gone 11 months without a period and then they get another one. So when do we know it's the last one? We have to look back and we have to see, oh, I haven't had a period in 12 months. I'm in menopause. The day after that, the day after your anniversary, you're in postmenopause. So perimenopause is when you start feeling changes that indicate that your ovaries are not working as well.
Okay.
And then you stop ovulating. The last menstrual period is menopause. It's confirmed when you don't have a period for 12 consecutive months. And after that, you're in postmenopause. Now remember that we're supposed to live until our mid-80s in North America anyway. And the average age of menopause is 51. It can happen usually between 45 and 55, but average 51.
Okay.
So we're going to live more than a third in postmenopause without estrogen, which is women's best friend. Never mind the diamonds. Estrogen is a woman's best friend. So we should consider that, because this is a new thing happening. This did not happen in the last centuries. Women died a lot younger, so they weren't living through postmenopause that long. And they definitely were not working at home and doing everything we are doing through perimenopause and postmenopause.
Okay. Okay. So, wow, you just said so much there that I actually want to unpack and delve into a little bit deeper. So, perimenopause itself is the gradual aging and decline of our ovaries.
It's when we start noticing that the ovaries are getting very old and not working as much. It can last 2 to 6 years, and no one can tell you when it starts, and no one can tell you how long it lasts.
Okay, 2 to 6 years. Okay, that was going to be my question. Like, can this go on for a decade? Because I hear some women say, oh my God, I've been in menopause for a decade. But is that a true, could that be a true statement?
That's not a true statement, because menopause is the last menstrual period and it's only confirmed 12 months after. So menopause is one day, it's the anniversary. After that, you're in postmenopause. Before that, you were in perimenopause. I think what women mean is that they're having symptoms that are lasting a long time. When I became a certified menopause practitioner in 2013, the understanding was that symptoms could last 3 to 5 years. Now we started to say 10 to 15, and some unlucky women will have bothersome symptoms for 20 years. And 20% of women will have no challenges. So not everyone is going to have every symptom. They're going to keep on changing. Some are more severe than others. Some women don't have any trouble at all. And 20% of women will have such severe symptoms that their lives are thrown upside down, and they just, they need support. They probably need hormone therapy, whatever it is, that to get them back on track, because it's very troublesome.
Okay, so how do you know? I mean, mental health is something that we all should be talking about now. How do you know, as a perimenopausal woman who legit feels crazy some days, like today? So I was sharing with you, Teresa, I was having one of those days where everything was setting me off and I was just tearing at everything. And it probably didn't help that I had the news on. So I was hearing about COVID and that was like bringing me down. I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. And, so if you're a woman and you're feeling these emotional fluctuations, you're feeling all these emotions that seem to come out of nowhere. How do you know, or what do you advise women to do to be able to check themselves and to be able to say, okay, this is a perimenopausal symptom, or this maybe is a more serious health concern, mental health concern, or something else that I need to be seeking medical advice on? What would you suggest?
Good point. So we cannot blame everything on perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. Not everything that happens in our bodies is because of our hormones. So first rule is never skip your checkups. Okay. See your doctor when you're supposed to. Do your blood tests, because there are medical conditions that mimic some of the symptoms of perimenopause. So for example, if you have hypothyroidism, a slow thyroid, the thyroid that is not working optimally, you may have some of the same symptoms: fatigue, dry skin, weight gain, hair loss, those things. That could be a sign of a hypothyroid. So you need to check your blood, and you need to check your iron, because if you have very heavy periods, you can become low in iron and have anemia. And there are symptoms that are similar to menopause symptoms. Okay. So never skip your checkups. Okay. And you have a good point. Every woman should know intimately everything that goes on in her body. You should know when you're changing, like today you found yourself very off. You don't have a disease, probably don't. If it is perimenopause, it's most likely up and down, and it fluctuates with your hormones, so your moods are going up and down. If you have anxiety, and many women feel anxious and irritable and very moody during perimenopause, but again, it fluctuates. But if your anxiety is so big that keeps you from living your regular normal life, then it's time to check with a doctor.
Right. Okay.
You should not allow those things to keep you from living your normal life. So if last week you were doing ABC things all week, and this week your anxiety is keeping you home and you don't want to go out because you're afraid or whatever, if it's just a week, that's fine. If it goes on for 6 weeks, 2 months, you should check that with the doctor. The other thing that many women say is that depression happens in menopause. Mm-hmm. It's not that common, actually. Oh. Unless it's more common in women who had bad PMS, premenstrual syndrome, and they had terrible mood changes and all that with PMS, or women who have already had a depressive state, a depression before. So if you had bad PMS, if you suffer from depression before, you're more prone to get another diagnosis of depression during menopause. But you never had those two things, you're not likely to get diagnosed with depression. So you may have depressive feelings, you may feel sad, you may feel low, but it doesn't tend to be so severe and doesn't last as long.
Okay. That's a really important distinction. And I think probably a lot of women are scared some days. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind, and what's happening to me? And am I slipping into a depression? And because mental health is such a topic that is more openly discussed, thank God, I would hope that people would have those discussions and go to their doctor and feel comfortable to do that. And I would hope that the doctor wouldn't just, prescribe something or, just sweep it under the rug. That's a whole other topic though, right?
You would be so surprised or how many women I know, and I'm sure there's more that I don't even know, who have been given antidepressants for perimenopause changes in mood.
Wow.
Which is not a good thing, because first of all, it does not treat the problem, because the problem is a hormone fluctuation or decline. Right. And all these drugs, as I said, have adverse effects. So on top of everything you're already feeling, you're not getting treated, and on top of it, you have adverse effects. So it's not good. If you're not happy, if you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis that you're not happy with, you can always call me for a second opinion. Okay. Or see another doctor, talk to somebody else. If you know in your gut what's going on. If the doctor says you have depression, but you're not sure you do, check it out.
Right.
Don't accept a prescription for antidepressants in your late 40s without a very good reason.
Okay. That is excellent advice. So you mentioned something about, hypothyroidism and some of the physical effects that you might notice. Some of those effects, though, are very similar to what you experience in perimenopause. So where I'm going with this is, I know how you and I originally connected was you wrote an article for Revolution Her magazine, and I was reading it this summer. And in that article, you were talking about the effects that perimenopause and menopause can have on our skin, our hair, our nails, just to name a few, because that's obviously near and dear to me, being an organic skincare formulator. And so that's what originally intrigued me and drew me to you. And then it was from there that we connected, and I just absolutely take something away from every conversation that I have with you. Like, I just was so excited to be able to bring you on today and to share you with all the women that are watching you. So could you explain to us a little bit about, from that aspect? So assuming that we don't have any hypothyroidism that we're dealing with, and it's just strictly dealing with, and that's enough, right? Dealing with perimenopause and menopause. What are some of the things that could be happening to us in terms of, symptoms that we're seeing on our body, on the exterior of our body, never mind what's going on the interior?
So there are two things going on. There's aging, natural aging, regardless of what the hormones are doing. Yeah. And then there's the hormones. Remember when I said that in puberty, your body's learning to work or to live, function with new hormones? Now in perimenopause, your body is learning to work and to function with hormones going down. So it's not an appropriate term, but I like to call it withdrawal. Your body has to go through this stage to get used to living without the hormones.
Okay.
And it gets very complicated because estrogen, as I said, is the predominant female hormone, and it acts in almost every tissue, organ, and system of the body. So there's estrogen receptors. It's like a lock and a key. There are locks in almost everywhere. There are locks in, of course, in female characteristics like the breasts, vagina, vulva, uterus, and then there's also estrogen receptors on the skin, in the eyes, liver, the bones, everywhere, pretty much everywhere. So when estrogen goes, those cells, those systems, those tissues start changing because now they have to function without the help of estrogen. But as I said, at the same time, we're aging, and we know that we're aging, we lose muscle, we lose collagen. So you add the aging with the lack of estrogen, and you get a very good cocktail for less muscles, more flaccid skin, more wrinkles, less collagen, more dryness. But then because in perimenopause, the balance between the female hormones and the male hormones that exist naturally in our body, the balance gets off. Women who tend to have more androgens, which are the male hormones, become more prone to acne. And those oily spots and then the dry spots. So right. I'm glad you like that stuff because I find it very complicated to tell women what's going on. It is a natural process and we have to deal with it. Now, when it comes to skin, and better than I do probably, that there are 3 things that are very important for skin. 2 are very bad and 1 is very good. So sun and smoking are terrible for skin.
Yes.
And water is very important for skin health. Yeah. I forgot my glass of water. I should get up and get it. So there are a lot of things going on. So regardless what it is, we should look after our health and our skin health with protection against the sun, whatever that means, sunscreen, staying in the shade, whatever. Yeah, not smoking, a hat, not smoking, and drinking lots of water and applying lots of hydration.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so key. And then what about for our hair? I mean, it's hair health is
The hair starts falling. But I think, again, it's part of aging and it's part of hormones. Some women have a bigger problem with it than others. To me, beauty comes from inside out, and I mean it the inside. What you put in your mouth is going to dictate the health of your skin as well and your hair. So if you have poor diet, your hair is going to reflect it. If you have vitamin or nutrition deficiencies, your hair is going to reflect that. So there's more to it than hormones. It's also how your system is working and how you're feeding yourself. It's like holistic approach. We are one big body and everything is connected together. When you take a piece out of one place, it's going to reflect elsewhere. So we have to think of the whole body as one big picture with a lot of pixels, getting it all together.
right. And I mean, I really believe, and I don't really love the way the saying goes, but garbage in, garbage out. Doesn't sound nice, but the point being, what goes in must come out.
Exactly.
So if you're struggling with your skin, if you're struggling with your hair, you're struggling with the quality of your nails, like whatever it is that's happening on the outer surface of our bodies, especially because our skin is our largest organ. So naturally, if we are putting stuff in our body, it could even be what's deemed a healthy food, but it just might not be healthy for you. Your body might not agree with it. And sometimes that takes just getting to know how you react to different things, right? But yeah, it's everything is so intertwined. And so you really need to look at all of that to be able to assess what's going on. So the hormones are kind of that added layer on top of all of that.
Yeah.
But what I know is that you've got some 4 tips for us. So aside from the fact that we're dealing with all these hormonal changes, which that's going to happen regardless, right? That is part of life. But as I promoted in this talk that we're having tonight, there's a way that you can have perhaps a happier perimenopause, because some of it is within our control. Not everything, but some of it is, right? So you have these 4 tips for us, for all of us, around what to be true around things that we can do to make it a better experience. It doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect experience, but it could be better than the alternative, right? So, so what do you suggest? What are your 4 if you want to start to?
My four fundamentals of good health, and also immune system, which is very important now, and for niece menopause are healthy food, physical activity, proper sleep, and being positive, having a positive mindset. Because again, what we put in is what's going to come out.
Right.
If we don't start with a good foundation, you're not going to get nice hair, good nails, and whatever. So if we eat a lot of fast food for a long time, we're going to get ill. And that's because a lot of it is processed. It's not real food. So when I say healthy food, I say food instead of diet, because diet is always associated with a negative meaning.
I don't like
but diet is what we eat. So
yeah.
Healthy food. So try to eat fresh, real food. Someone said this, and I it's not my definition, but I love it if I was the original person, the person that said it originally. If it doesn't grow or walk naturally, it's not food. So if it comes from the box, if it is a cracker, and you take the time to read what's in the label, you hardly recognize anything there that actually grows naturally. Maybe wheat, or maybe corn, or whatever, rice, but a whole lot of other things that added on, because this crap is going to have to be on the shelf for a long time before going bad, so you can buy it and eat it within 2 or 3 years. So I don't like processed food. I don't think our bodies like processed food. Our bodies like natural food. So eat things that grow and are raised in a real world. That's my first thing. And then vegetables and fruits, like your mother told you, and I'm a mother, so I tell everyone. In my house, my kids always knew that dessert was always fruit. It didn't matter. You can eat dessert anytime you want because dessert is fruit. And then there were the odd cakes and sweets and whatnot, but fruit was always a dessert. And the more colorful your fruits and vegetables are, the better they are for you, because we know that fruits, orange, red, purple, dark green vegetables, everything that has a deep color to it, has more nutrients, has more antioxidants, which are naturally there to help us not slow down the age, but avoid aging so fast. So slow down the aging process, I guess, or improve the aging process, because we can't stop aging. That's just the way it is. Every second we are a second older, but we can slow down the aging process. So eat your fruits and your vegetables and eat them colorful. It's bounty season now. Go out and buy fresh things from farmers markets, the supermarket, and try to buy things that are coming from an orchard near you, because they are picked more ripe than if they have to travel 2,000 miles and 2 weeks on the road, right?
Right.
And eat fish, eat meat, whatever. Some people can't, but try to have a varied diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, low in carbohydrates because you don't really need a lot of them. Avoid, if at all possible, processed food. And we are human, so we like a sweet and a treat and something that is decadent once in a while. Go for it. If you most of the time eat a healthy diet, you deserve to have chocolate and cake and whatever whenever you want. Because if your basic diet is good, then you can add all those interesting things and learn to like a good, healthy meal. Why is it that every time somebody says, oh, pick between broccoli and chocolate? Why is it that broccoli is so bad? I like broccoli, and there's all the examples, right?
Oh, I love broccoli.
We should learn to like good food.
Yeah.
Healthy food.
Yeah.
Develop a taste to healthy food. Learn how to cook it nicely so it's not so blah. If you're just going to boil broccoli, maybe it's not that nice. And we all spoil. We have so many foods that are so rich in flavor. So when we're going to eat something less rich, it's not good. So that's my story about food. Eat as natural as possible and a lot of everything. Don't stick with just one thing. And then the same goes for movement.
Okay.
Human bodies. Yes.
Number 2 is movement.
Number 2 is movement, because human bodies were made to move. When we were hunters and gatherers, women spend the days looking for berries and things with the kids in tow and all that. We never sat as much as we sit now. We're at the computer all day, then we eat sitting at the table, then we sit in front of the TV. When are we going to move? We have to make a decision to move most of the times. It doesn't come naturally unless you are a male person that delivers mail every day. You're going to walk for your job. But if you not having a job that makes you move, you have to force yourself to move. And again, it doesn't have to be bad. Oh, I don't want to exercise. Try to find movement that appeals to you. It doesn't have to, exercise to me doesn't mean going to the gym and smelling all those awful men around you and hearing them grunting and everything. Choose dance, clean your house strenuously.
Just move your body.
Just move and take opportunities to move by choice. I live on the 9th floor. From the bottom up, it's 8 stories. I go up my stairs every time if I don't have shopping. I'm not carrying my shopping with me because it's not going to be healthy for my back. But if I don't have weights to carry, I go up and down. Yeah, it was hard in the beginning. Now I do it and I don't even huff and puff anymore. So start slowly and build up, but keep moving as much as possible. The Heart Association, American Heart Association recommends 120 minutes of movement a week. So if you can take 15-minute walk at lunch.
Mm-hmm.
5 times 15 or 5 times 20 is 100. You're almost there already.
Right.
So just add other things. Just be inventive.
Right.
Be creative and introduce movement to your life.
Mm-hmm.
Women in menopause need to prevent bone loss and muscle loss, because as we age, our muscles go. That slows down our metabolism and we start putting on weight. So we need to do weight-bearing resistance exercises to keep our muscles or build muscle. We need cardio to keep our hearts healthy.
Yeah.
We need balance because we want to prevent falls.
Yeah.
And then I add always another one because I need it very much, and I think everybody else does, stretching.
We do all need it. Yes.
Gentle stretching. So cardio, resistance exercise,
Mm-hmm.
balance,
Mm-hmm.
and stretching.
Stretching. Okay.
And of course, we only have 24 hours in a day. Hopefully we sleep 7 hours minimum, and we have to work 8 hours and cook and kids and school and blah, blah. You may not be able to incorporate all 4 forms of exercise in one day. You should do stretching at bedtime every day if you can. 15 minutes is good enough. But one day you do cardio, one day you do weight-bearing exercise. The next day you do balance. Just try to incorporate it all in your life.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Don't skip any form of movement, because we need all of that.
And I would say do not move every day. So that's the double negative. Move every day, whatever way you can.
Right.
Move every day. Do some form of physical activity. Up and down the stairs, dancing, exercising, walking, swimming. I don't know, whatever you can think of that appeals to you, go out and do it. Walk the dog, walk the cat, go talk to a girlfriend down the street, and then ask her to come back with you, and then you go back with her and you walk on the sidewalk 2 meters apart, whatever.
You know, you're reminding me to bring up the Blue Zones research. I'm a huge fan of it. Teresa, you and I have never talked about this, but something tells me you are very well versed as well in the Blue Zones. And this is one of the factors why, so for those of you watching, if you're not familiar with the Blue Zones research, these are the places around the world where people live to be over 100 years old. And movement, well, actually the two that you've already mentioned, nutrition and movement, are one of their 2 factors for living to be over 100. So thank you for that. And if for anybody watching, if you're not familiar with the Blue Zones, you can just Google it. There's a book, there's all kinds of research, there's videos, there's really cool research about this. But
it's very, very interesting. And it makes so much sense.
It does. It really does.
And it's none of them, it's in North America.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
That tells you something.
That tells you something.
Our lifestyle in North America is not good for our physical, mental, and emotional health. Right. But again, lifestyle is a choice. Genetic, someone also said this, your genes, your genetic print, whatever you got from your parents, you can't change. But you can change how you live your life. So your genes are the gun. Your lifestyle is the trigger. Either you pull it or you don't.
Right. Right.
So even people who have tendency, higher risk for heart disease, breast cancer, they can change that risk and engage in lifestyle that reduces the risk. So they don't have the genes and the lifestyle accumulating risk.
Right. That's a double whammy. And that's the whole study of epigenetics. Which I find is fascinating. How can you change your genes? And so that's really, a lot of what we're talking about. There's so much crossover between how you can have a happier perimenopause and how you can live a longer life. And, this is not an accident that all of these themes and trends keep coming up time and time again as the things that we all need to be doing, right?
So the third fundamental is sleep. My favorite thing in life.
I love
it. Sleep is important for many, many reasons. A few of them are, I just learned this the other day, and when you're a student, you have these long nights of studying, and then you go to write an exam with 2 hours of sleep. It's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
In sleep is when you create memories. So if you read your textbook all day and then you slept 8 hours and then you went to write your test, you would have a much better memory of the material you just covered than if you read all night, slept 2 hours, or went to the exam. Why aren't kids taught this in school? I don't know. Maybe we are, and I just forget because I don't sleep enough.
You hadn't slept, so you forgot that.
That's when you rejuvenate your brain cells. That's when everything up here gets new again. So you need the sleep to get ready for the next day. If you go into sleep deficit, you are going to survive a long time because our bodies are so resilient. If our bodies can grow babies for 9 months, our bodies can do almost anything. But if you go into a sleep deficit for a long time, it will catch up to you. And your body will start nudging at you with diseases and medical conditions until one day it screams at you. And like Miss Huffington, you're just gonna drop on the floor because you just completely exhausted from lack of sleep. So sleep is important for a lot of things. Absolutely. A lot of women in perimenopause complain of sleep difficulties. That's an occurrence, that's normal. But again, what are you doing in your lifestyle choices that is helping you to sleep better? If you are not helping your sleep, you can't expect to sleep properly. So there's a few things you should do. They call it the bedtime routine. Okay. If you're getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, then stop drinking 3 hours before going to bed.
Right.
Because as we age, and it has nothing to do with menopause or perimenopause or hormones, as we age, our brain waves are not as deep and they don't give us as restful sleep as they did before. So we need as much sleep as we can or more as we age to compensate for the lack of deep sleep. So if you're getting up once, twice at night, you're going to add even more alertness to your sleep. So no drinks 3 hours, no drink past 3 hours before bedtime.
Okay.
No screens, because the light messes up your melatonin.
Right.
Your melatonin.
Yes.
Melatonin. So the more light you have, the less melatonin you have. And you need melatonin to mellow. You need melatonin to go to sleep. That's why in the morning we get up with the sunrise and we go to sleep when it gets dark. That's our circadian rhythm. People who have to work through the opposite way, they are not as healthy as if they didn't have to work those shifts. We know that from many studies, much research has been done in that. Shift workers have more overweight, have more insomnia, have all that. So you listen to your body, wake up with a light and go to bed when it's dark. So the lights we're using now, our TV, our little devices are our worst enemies at bedtime because all this brightness is going to take away the melatonin that we need in order to calm down and sleep. So no screens 2 hours before bedtime.
2 hours. Okay.
2 hours.
Yeah. So don't take our phone to bed with us and be
and don't wake up in the middle of the night and look at your phone the first thing, because that bright light from your phone is going to make you wake up, and now goodbye, you're never going to go to sleep for another 2 hours.
Right. Like, so when you get up to go pee, which hopefully we're going to stop doing that too, but don't look at your phone.
Yeah. So go pee in the dark. Make sure you hit the toilet properly. Come back to bed in the dark. Do not look at your phone. Do not look at the time, because it doesn't matter what time it is. It's time to go to sleep. Go back to bed in a quiet, dark, cool room. And then when you put your head on your pillow again, you don't think about your tomorrow to-do list. You don't think about all the problems you had all day. You're just going to focus on your breath. Okay. And you're going to fall asleep like that. And every time I do this, I tell my clients to do this. They say, it works. It's so simple. It is. All you need to do is shut this thing down, because if it's working, you're awake. But if you don't wake it up, you go back to sleep. Someone said to me, oh, but thinking about my breath is so boring. Exactly. That's why you fall asleep, because it's boring. It's not stimulating.
Right. That is exactly why we focus on our breath, so that we can calm our nervous system.
The other thing is we need to calm down before bed. I know that after this talk, it's going to take me an hour to calm down, because I get excited about talking about menopause and seeing you. So we need a bedtime routine where we slowly slow our brain waves. When we were young, we could go party at 4 o'clock in the morning, come home and go to sleep just like that. Now nothing happens just like that. No. Everything takes time. So get a bedtime routine where you shut down the lights, you put a nice quiet music on, do some stretching, calming yoga, whatever it's comfortable for you, and then read a boring book if you want with a very cool light, not on your device, but a real book, whatever. Get something that your brain waves start slowing down. And when you feel fatigued or when you feel calm enough, go to bed. Right. You can't expect to go to bed from being very agitated and then falling asleep in 5 minutes. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No, and it's especially if it worked for you in your 20s, it's not working for you in your 40s, 50s, beyond, right? And somebody just actually commented in the chat, I don't know if you can see it, Teresa, but they said, I'm so guilty of this, phone in bed. And I am too. I got better. And I was actually plugging my phone in, not even near me in bed. And then I've gone back to my bad habit of keeping it beside me on the bedside table. And I'm pretty good about not looking at it, but if I hear it buzzing like repeatedly, then it drives me crazy and I need to look at it and see who is trying to get a hold of me at this time of night. But it's the worst habit to get into. So I'm really glad that you just talked about that, because it really does mess with us. Sleep hygiene is so critical. It is. It is. It really is. So I think we have a fourth tip that you're going to share.
One more. So like you, it must be something of someone born in November, December, because my birthday is in November, and I'm also very positive, sometimes to a fault. I see everything in the positive side, and then I get hit in the head with the negative, right? Positivity is important. What do the experts say? And you just said, whatever goes in comes out, right?
Right.
Whatever you think makes you be, something like that. If you're always thinking negative thoughts, you're gonna feel negative.
Right.
If you make an effort to think, and I know it's hard now, and many of us all of us are going through a global pandemic, and some of us are going through really hard times. And I have no idea how mothers with small kids at home do it all, but we have to do it because there's no option. But even in the midst of a pandemic, there are things that you are grateful for, and there are things that you can find a positive side to. Even if it is just waking up in the morning, you are alive one more day. The sun is shining. You don't have smoke outside the window. That's good too.
That's good.
There's always something that we can look through a positive lens.
Right.
And I want people to, I'm naturally like that. You are too, so it's easier for us. But for some people, it's not easy. We all see the glass half full, and others always see the glass half empty. And I know we're all different, and easier said than done for many of us. But if you are feeling down and negative, try to pick one or two things that you can be positive about every day. And keep thinking positive thoughts. Most of the tragedies and bad things that we think about never happen. They're all here.
Anxiety. Right? We're imagining.
We make this terrible plot of this movie that will never play in our lives.
Right.
Our life is much better than we think about.
Right.
So stop the negative stuff, put in positive, and then be mindful and be present. And be in the moment. I'm trying to be better at this. I'm older, and I'm only managing this now. But I'm trying very hard to, every time I'm doing something, I'm just doing that thing and not thinking of 3 other things at the same time.
Oh God, I hope I can get
difficult. When I go for a walk, I used to just think about my business on my walk and find all these solutions to every problem. Now I shut it off and I just go for the walk, and I look at the green trees, and I listen to the birds, and I look at the sky and the pond or whatever. And I just try to be in the park. When I'm physically in the park, my brain should be there as well. If we're not in a moment, we're wasting our lives.
Yeah, that's
because
so.
we're always elsewhere that we're not at. Our brain is there, but we are not. There's a disconnect.
There's a big disconnect. And I actually think that with the 4 things that you've mentioned, nutrition, movement, sleep, those 3 build to put you in a more positive mindset. So it's not like these 4 items, these 4 secrets are separate. They're all intertwined. And if you are, watching what you're putting in your body, if you are taking part in daily movement and keeping your body feeling healthy and limber and pain-free and everything else, then you know what, and you're getting the proper sleep, because oh my God, sleep is everything.
If you don't sleep, everything goes down the drain.
If you're not getting the sleep, you are going to be, I know, I'll speak for myself. My husband will tell you, if I don't get my sleep, look out, right? Nobody's going to be happy if I'm not happy. And so it all ties back into that positivity. Right?
And it's all together. It's all together. One missing piece is going to affect everything.
It absolutely does. And somebody actually just commented, I'm a fairly positive person, but sometimes I'm so irritable even though I'm active and eat well. Do you have any suggestions?
Irritable?
Irritable.
Is that the word that she said?
Yes, they could be irritable even though they're active and eat well. So what would you suggest, Teresa? Are
you sleeping enough? Usually irritability comes from not having enough rest and sleep and brain rejuvenation. So if you're very irritable, find out what's irritating you and find out why you're so vulnerable to being irritated. So sleep would be my first thing. I'm a lot more irritable when I don't sleep. Everything that happens just irritates me. So when I'm rested, I can be calmer. I can accept things in a better mood. If I'm not rested, everything irritates me. So find that out. Or it's just plain perimenopause.
Oh, yes, it could just be peri that's wreaking havoc on our body and our body.
There's usually a reason. So I would check the sleep pattern. If you're getting less than 7 hours a night consecutively for many nights in a row, it could be lack of sleep.
Yeah. And if the person is getting sleep, which, I see a yes back in the comments. So I think they feel like they're getting enough sleep, then it could just be the hormones that they're dealing with.
It could be something nagging in the back of your head too. What's nagging you that is not making you accepting things without becoming irritable? Sometimes it's deeper than we think. Sometimes it's not just the 4th thing. Sometimes there's some issue nagging and bugging you that is in the back of your mind, and then everything else just gets in your way.
Caught up in that. Yeah, one of the things that I've been really trying to be more conscious of lately is when I notice that I'm having some sort of reaction to something that I've heard or seen or experienced, or somebody makes a comment to me, I'm really trying to take that time to not be reactive in the moment, to walk away and to stop and just spend some time with my own thoughts, to say, I'm not going to judge this thought. I'm not going to judge the reaction that I had. That I want to understand my own feelings and my own thoughts to this, to how I'm reacting to what somebody did or said. And I'm finding it to be so helpful. So to those of you that are watching, and if you're relating to this and you feel irritable and you don't know why, start to ask yourself those questions when you're in those moments without reacting. So sometimes you just have to bite your tongue. You have to walk away and ask yourself, what was that reaction that I experienced, and what could be maybe underlying that? And I'm thinking that's really helping.
It is. Count till 10 before you say anything. Totally. The best time to be quiet is when you think that if you don't say something, you're going to explode. Don't say anything. count till 10, go to another room, excuse yourself, just say, I can't handle this. I just go for a walk, go for a 10 minutes of 10 seconds of deep breathing, whatever you can do, but don't react.
Walk away. Just,
because it's much more, I think it's much easier on your whole system to not react than it is to react, especially if you blow it.
Yeah.
And then you feel bad afterwards, and there's a lot of cleaning up to do and patching up. So even though I'm gonna burst if I don't say something, don't say anything, because I know I'm talking from experience. I used to be a screamer and a yeller, whatever. And when I decided that nobody's listening to me anymore because this is my normal being, this was my perimenopause. If I'm screaming at everyone all the time, they're just going to turn me off, right?
Right.
And then I stopped screaming and just saying, okay, guys, I need to get off this conversation, this discussion, whatever, for a few minutes. Yeah. And you just get a new perspective. You reassess things, and nothing is as bad as you thought it was when it was in the heat of things, and you come back and life goes on in a much more leveled way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I have a great question here that somebody's actually posted, and it's like they're reading my mind. So the question is, what can we tell our partners about all of this? My husband refuses to believe I'm in peri.
I'd like to know why.
How do we explain this? And it's funny because
one of these days, I swear, one of these days I'm going to have a peri talk for them.
Oh, for men.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
A peri talk for the partners of the women that are going through. I should do that. Next year, I'll have to make sure I do that. We're going to do one for
oh, my God.
They have to show up. They cannot watch the recording. They have to show up.
They have to show up live. Yes, well, absolutely.
You can do a lot of things. You can educate yourself and him at the same time. So my website is MenopausED.org. I have several blogs about different topics. One of the best websites, much bigger and a lot more contributors than mine, is the North American Menopause Society. It's menopause.org. Mine has a D at the end. I didn't know theirs was like that, so it's confusing. So mine has more words and it has less content. But menopause.org, the NAMS website, has a lot of good information for men and women, for women and healthcare providers. If you go on the women's section and there's a drop down, check the Meno notes, for example. Just play around with the website, and it explains all of this in a easy way to understand.
Oh, that's great.
Print it out, give it to your husband, send him a PDF, whatever. Whatever you need to read is what he also needs to read, because it's easy for us to say, oh, they just have to put up with it. But imagine if it was the opposite. If we had to put with a moody husband that we have no idea why he's moody, I didn't do anything, why are you reacting like that? It's just as confusing for you as it is for him.
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
So communication. And you say, I don't know, I think I'm in perimenopause. I'm going to investigate this, and then I'll share what I find with you. And you must read it.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Or sit down and I'll read it to you without falling asleep. But we have to learn together.
We do have to learn together. And, you know, it's funny, when I was just preparing to come and to get on this call with you, Teresa, I was telling one of my teenage daughters who's 16, she said, you're doing a call on menopause, like, and she kind of giggled, right? And I said, you know, why is that funny? I said, it's like just, it's the same process as when you were going through puberty. So I said, remember when you were 12, 13 and your body was changing? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about, but in reverse. And because I used your words to explain it. And people seem to get, okay, teenagers can be emotional.
Yeah.
But why is it not okay for grown women to be emotional? We're going through the same thing in reverse. So, you know, that might be some words that people can use.
It is.
Yeah.
Special fathers that have girls and they've been there and witnessed the puberty is probably an easy way to explain it to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the exact same thing. Just, you know, I'm a grown woman and you might not expect it from me, but sometimes we just can't help it because it's our hormones that are taking over, right?
It's not me, it's my hormones.
It's
Yeah,
my hormones.
I'm telling the whole family, don't take it personally. And when you feel like today, Jodie, you felt so sad and crying, and I guess the family that were watching you is like, this is not my usual mother, this is not my usual wife. You just tell them, guys, I'm having a crying day today. You know how it is. Every day is different now. I have no idea what's coming tomorrow. It's not really my fault. I can't do anything. I can't help it. Just cope with me.
Yeah.
I don't take it personally.
Yeah, it's not personal.
If you warn them and if you communicate, it's a lot less. It's like raising awareness to women about going through this. If you have no idea what's going to happen, when it starts happening, it's going to be scary and it's going to be worrisome. If you have some idea of what to count on or what could possibly happen, like I said, not every person, not every woman has a hard time, but if you're aware of all these changes that could come at you eventually, then you're not worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Teresa, I feel like there's like so much more. We could keep going for another hour, but I know we're at the 1 hour mark. And there's a couple of things that I want to not forget to mention. So I make my notes because that's the only way that I'm sure I go through everything that I want to say. So a couple of things. I want to make sure that people know about your where to find you. So on your website, your WIM network, and I want to know about people can subscribe to your newsletter. So can you direct them on where to go for all of that?
So all that is on my website, MenopausED.org. So menopause with a D at the end.org. You'll find a sign up sheet on the first page. It will ask you for your name and email address, and I will send you to your inbox a menopause newsletter bi-weekly. And if you want to remember that we talked about the blue zones. One other thing that helps people live longer and live happier lives is community. So I noticed when I became a certified menopause practitioner that we whisper the word menopause. There's so much secrecy. There's so much embarrassment. It's awful. It's natural. It's unavoidable. Every woman is going to go through it. And we need to stick together and tell the world that this is normal, this is natural, and we have no option. So stick with us. And I made a community for us to support each other and to take care of each other. So my community is WIM Network, Women's Health in Midlife, because like it or not, 40 is your midlife.
Yeah, it is.
It is a membership only. I just updated it on my website because I want people who are listening to this Facebook Live to sign up and pay for 12 months but get 15 months. So if you sign up today, you get the rest of 2020 for free, and you just pay for the membership for 2021. And there's a list of things you get. You get 20 minutes to talk to me, workshops every month about many topics of menopause. I'm going to have a list of guest speakers next year. We're going to talk about gut health. Shout out for breast cancer survivors. On October 5th, I will be talking about menopause, which is for many breast cancer survivors is induced menopause due to treatments. They suffer usually younger, and they suffer much more bothersome symptoms than the ones of us that go through natural perimenopause and then menopause. So in October, I have a talk for breast cancer survivors. In November, there's a mood and food with a nutritionist. In December, I'm going to give you my 12 tips to a menopause-friendly holiday. And then next year, we're going to have a whole lot of other workshops. And if you sign up as quantities last, I will give you one of my favorite books, A Women's Guide to Midlife, to Healthy Aging, and 7 Proven Ways to Be Happy and Strong by Dr. Vivian Brown. She's my mentor, and I love her book. I have her book full of marks and notes because it's like a Bible for a midlife woman that should be read to know how to prevent disease, how to stay healthy, How to Age Healthily and Gracefully.
And are those 2 books you just mentioned, are they listed on your website?
Yes, I have a shop too. In my shop, I have all the things I like. I only sell what I like and what I try it and enjoy and work for me, including my special lubricant, which is another talk for another day.
Well, speaking of your special lubricant, for those of you that may or may not know, so Clean Kiss has just launched a fall subscription box. And so Teresa has graciously donated samples of her lubricant. Not that she manufactures it, but she's obtained
my favorite.
Her favorite that will be in every box, and along with that will be Teresa's card and also the discount offer to join the WHIM network that she was just talking about, so getting 15 months for the price of 12. So that will all be in the box if you do purchase one of our boxes, which you can do through cleankisslifestyle.com. It's live. It's actually on our web homepage right now. So when you go to my website, you'll see it there. And so what Teresa's talking about, you will get her contact information and the lube in that box. So that's exciting. So, we are out of time. Like I said, I could keep talking to Teresa for hours. I think I have talked to you for hours, and I know you've got so much information. But we're going to need to cut it off right now so that people can get on and start that winding down.
Screen off, lights down, quiet music, romance, whatever.
Yeah, and then just fall asleep nicely and easily tonight. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I really hope you got a lot of insights and a lot of great information. I know, like I said, I always do, and I love these 4 secrets to a happier perimenopause, because we could all use a little happier menopause these days. So thank you, Teresa, for joining us tonight. And thank you to everyone who tuned in and joined us. And like I said, if you still have more comments or questions, please post them in the Facebook chat below this video, and we will make sure that we get you more questions, or just reach out to Teresa directly because you've now got her information.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thank you.